Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRIENDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying close attention to the NFC East and the Washington Commanders, you've probably caught wind of some intriguing developments that could shape the division's landscape for years to come. And honestly, it's not just about one player or one game. It's about the strategic moves, the near misses, and the potential for the Commanders to elevate their roster in ways that could finally push them over the top. So, let's dive deep into what's happening behind the scenes, especially on the defensive front, where the team has been looking to strengthen their pass rush. First off, it's worth noting that the Commanders have been on the hunt for a proven edge rusher to bolster their defensive line. We all know how critical that is in today's NFL. Pass rushers can change the game in an instant, and with the division packed with offenses that are firing on all cylinders, having that extra burst off the edge can make all the difference. Now, there was talk, whispers really, about whether the Commanders made a serious move to acquire Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals. Hendrickson, a player who's proven himself in the league, especially with his ability to get after the quarterback, was a hot commodity. But what we do know is that, at some point, the Commanders showed interest, or at least explored the possibility of bringing him in. Whether it was a formal offer or just a trial balloon, we'll probably never know for sure. What's confirmed is that Hendrickson and the Bengals ultimately agreed to a one-year, $30 million contract on August 25, a deal that says a lot about his value and what the Bengals see in him. It's a huge investment for them, especially considering Hendrickson's production and age, and it highlights how competitive the NFC East is becoming, with teams willing to spend big for pass rushers. But what about the Commanders? Well, their best move this offseason in terms of adding to their pass rush was signing 36-year-old Von Miller to a one-year, $6.1 million deal back in July. Now, Miller is undoubtedly a legendary player, a Super Bowl MVP, and a guy with a wealth of experience. But at this stage of his career, he's more of a situational player, a veteran who can come in and make a splash in key moments, but not necessarily someone you rely on week in and week out. It's a smart signing, sure, but it leaves a lot to be desired if the goal is to create a truly dominant pass rush that can consistently pressure the quarterback. That's where the trade rumors and proposals come into play. Recently, Bleacher Report's Moe Motton suggested a trade that could make a real difference for Washington. The proposal would see the Commanders acquire Kwity Paye from the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for a couple of draft picks, specifically, a third-round pick in 2026 and a fifth-round pick in 2027. On the surface, it might seem like a modest move, but in reality, Paye is a player with significant upside. He's a 6'3", 265-pound linebacker who's already shown he can get after the quarterback. Over the past 2 seasons, Paye has registered at least 8 sacks each year, and he's also accumulated 10 tackles for loss in 2 of his 4 NFL campaigns. That's impressive production for a player still relatively young. And what's interesting is that the Colts might be open to trading him because they're not fully committed to giving him a lucrative extension before he hits free agency next year. Paye was a first-round pick in 2021, taken 21st overall by the Colts, and he's due to earn around $387 million in 2025 after the Colts exercised his 5th-year option. That's a significant amount, but considering his on-field performance and durability, he's only missed more than 2 games in a season once, in 2022, when he missed 5 games but still finished with 6 sacks. He's a player who could be a cornerstone for the Commanders' defense. And the team's cap space is ample enough to make a move like this, especially if they see him as a long-term piece and are willing to negotiate a new extension. Let's not forget, Paye is still a young player, just 26 years old, and he has shown steady improvement. Despite the Colts' struggles, since 2020 they haven't made the playoffs, and in Paye's first 4 seasons they've hovered around 500 or below, the player himself has been a bright spot. He's demonstrated durability, consistent production, and the ability to pressure the quarterback. But unfortunately, the Colts have been mired in a cycle of mediocrity, with coaching changes and a lack of postseason success. Paye, despite his talent, hasn't had the opportunity to showcase his full potential on a winning team. And with Shane Steichen, their current head coach, potentially facing the axe after the season, it's clear that the Colts are in a period of transition. That's why a move like trading Paye could make sense for them. Get something in return before he hits free agency, especially if rookie second-rounder JT Tuimoloau shows promise this year. Now, let's circle back to the Commanders. The team's current pass rush situation leaves a lot to be desired. Last season, Dante Fowler led the team with 11 sacks, and although he played a crucial role, he's now a free agent, having signed with the Dallas Cowboys. The Commanders did bring in some veteran help, but with Miller more of a situational player and other pieces in flux, they need someone who can consistently generate pressure. The addition of Paye could do just that. He's a player who has shown he can get after the quarterback, and with the right coaching and scheme, he could become a focal point of the defense. Plus, the team's salary cap is flexible enough to accommodate a trade and extension, making this a realistic scenario. And speaking of the team's defense, it's worth highlighting some of the other strategic moves and the overall picture. The Commanders have been building a defense that's capable of keeping them competitive, but they still lack that consistent pass-rushing force that can turn games around. The signing of veterans like Miller was a step, but the team needs more juice off the edge. Drafting players like JT Tuimoloau suggests they're looking toward the future, but immediate help is what they need now, especially as they aim for a playoff push and maybe even more. In the broader context, the NFC East is becoming more competitive than ever. The Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, all of them have invested heavily in their rosters, especially on defense, and the Commanders can't afford to fall behind. Having a player like Paye, who's still ascending, could be a game changer. It's about adding that extra weapon that can get after the quarterback, disrupt passing lanes, and give the entire defense a boost. And if they're able to secure him before the season kicks off, it sets the tone for their entire campaign. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. The NFC East has always been a division of fierce rivalries, historic moments, and unpredictable outcomes. But in recent years, it's also become a battleground for strategic moves, trades, signings, draft picks, that can define a team's trajectory for years to come. The Commanders, with their rich history and passionate fanbase, are clearly looking to re-establish themselves as a dominant force. They've made some smart moves, but the next step is aggressive, targeted acquisitions that can push them over the edge. And acquiring a player like Kwity Paye would be exactly that, adding a young, talented pass rusher who can grow within their scheme and contribute immediately. And of course, all of this hinges on the team's coaching staff and front office's vision. If they see Paye as a piece that fits their defensive philosophy, they'll make the move. And if the Colts are willing to part with him, especially before he hits free agency, it could be a win-win. For Washington, it's about adding that long-term piece, creating more pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and giving their defense a new dimension. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize how crucial these decisions are. The NFL is a league where every move counts, and the difference between a good team and a great one often comes down to those small, strategic acquisitions. The Commanders are in a position to make a bold move this offseason, and fans should be excited about the possibilities. Whether it's signing a veteran or trading for a promising young talent like Paye, the team is clearly aiming to take a step forward, to become more than just a playoff contender. They want to compete for a Super Bowl again. And with the right pieces in place, that dream can become a reality. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you think acquiring Kwity Paye is the right step toward the team's future? Or do you believe they should focus elsewhere, maybe on other positions or even draft picks? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Remember, this is a community, and your voice helps shape the conversation. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, more analysis on everything Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep this fanbase growing stronger than ever. Thanks for watching, and as always, hail to the Commanders.